Recording in progress.
Hello and welcome. Today, I'm going to talk about association and tips regarding association. I've been facing a lot of problems doing association, and finally, I think I've dealt with the problems. So I'll be talking about some tips also regarding association, and then we'll build table and expose them as a service. We'll do query using double dollar expand, and we'll build an app that's a list report app on top of it, and we'll be actually having 3 pages in the app. First one will be the list report page, and then we'll be having the object page, and we'll be having another object page for it. Okay, I'll show you how to navigate between the pages, and that's it. Now let's see what exactly is the case. The case is that we are having customers 1, 2, and customer 3. So for each customers, some sales orders have been made. This is my sales order 1, this is my sales order 2, and maybe 3. Same is true for customer 2, and same is true for customer 3, maybe more sales order for the customer 3. So on different dates, they have ordered certain product, and a sales order for those products have been created by the company for the customer 1, customer 2, and customer 3. So each sales order will contain multiple line items in it. So maybe more. So I'm just trying to make these line items. So this is my line item 1, line item 2, line item 3, and so on. In the same way you have got for the sales order 2. So what's going to happen is that we'll be having in the list report page, in the first screen, there will be a table over here. In the table, we'll be having records of customers, right? And multiple records will be there for customers. So for every click on the record, you are directed to a second page that consists of the details regarding the customer, and there would be a table over here. That table will consist of the sales order. So suppose here is the customer. So this is my customer 1, C1, and that customer has got, say, 3 sales order, 2 sales order. This would be my sales order 1, and this will be my sales order 2, and so on. And here you'll have a navigation button. So when you press one record on the sales order 1, you are taken to a third page. In that third page, you'll be having again the details, and then another table that consists of line items related to each sales order. So if you press on sales order 1 for the customer 1, so you'll get the line item details for the customer 1 for this particular sales order, L2 and L3 and L4 and so on, right? So this is what we're going to do today. So let's go directly on BAS now, and we will see how we're going to do that. So here you can see I have one project already made, Sustain. So we're going to create a new project. In order to create a new project, you need to go to the list where you have got the file in it. And from the file, you have to go to the new project from template. So let me delete this particular terminal now. So you can see over here, we have got different kinds of projects that you want to do. That is, do you want to make an adaptation project, a basic multi-target application, or a CAP project? So today we're going to make a CAP project. So you need to press CAP project. It will turn blue, and then we'll go to start. Here you can write the name of your project. So since the idea is to show you how association work, so we'll write association, and on top of it, we're going to make a UI. So let's make it a UI as well. Association UI. It's a Node.js project. Okay. So choose productive runtime capabilities for your application. So we need a SAP HANA Cloud. And do we need an application router? No, I don't need it right now. No authentication and nothing. We don't need an event mesh or application logging. Do we need an MTA? Yeah, we need this thing, but we're not going to use it right now. We'll do it from the terminal. We'll add this through the terminal. So you can understand that when you don't have an MTA deployment checked right at the beginning, how can you have it in the middle of the project? So in the same way, do we need a UI? Yes, we need a UI. Here also we'll not check it. We'll do it later. So let's finish the whole thing and see what we get. So here is the name of the project that we got. Okay. Now we don't need this particular get started thing. So let's kill it. And now it will take some time to load everything. So here we're going to make the table. Let's see what happens if you go to the new terminal and do a CDS run. What happens if you do a CDS run at the beginning? So it says that there's no model or anything that we actually see. So first we need to actually make something, then we can do a CDS run. So we're going to clear it now and go and actually build a table. So we'll go into the DB folder and right click and make a new file over here. And we'll call that new file as ASSO.cds. You can name it anything as you want. So it's like association. So I've made it ASSO.cds. And you press enter and the file is made. So we also need to create a file in the SRV folder for the service definition. So we can call it as, you can call it by any name, but I'm just using the ASSO SRV.cds. So we have got two files made over here. In the DB part, we're going to make the tables. So the first thing that you need to do is write the namespace over there. And you see the code completion is coming. So you can use any namespace. I will use my own name for it, Danish, and semicolon. And then we're going to write the entities that we're going to have, entity projection. We're going to do entity. So do you need a CUID? Those aspects it's talking about, we don't need any aspects right now. So we'll just go for entity. What's the name of the entity? It's sales orders, right? And what will we have in the sales order? The first thing that we have is the key, and it would be the customer ID. So let's make it customer ID, and it will be an integer 16 and a semicolon. Then you have the customer name, and it will be a string. Okay, so these are the two fields we'll be having in the sales order. Now we'll go to our next entity and write the name of the entity, and that, the first actually is the customers, not the sales order. So here will be the sales orders entity. In this, first we have the key, and it would be sales order ID, and that will again be an integer, and then we'll be having the total amount, for it, and that will be a decimal, and would be 15 and 2, and then we have the date, and the date will be the date. Okay, and it's done. Now we go to our third line item. You see, it's so easy actually. They've got 2 fields in the customers and 3 in the sales order, and let's move on to the third one. Entity. The name of the entity is first we need to have a key for it. Key, and it will be we have named the entity, it is line items, and the key will be line item ID. That will be an integer again. Okay, now we'll be having the product ID. Product ID. So it's product ID over there. And then that would be, the product ID would be an integer again. And then we'll be having, next we'll be having quantity. So the quantity will be the integer theme, and then we have the unit price, and that would be a decimal. That make it as 15,2. Okay, now the real part comes. How are we going to make the association? Now you just need to understand, like, this part over here is dependent on the sales order, and the sales order in turn is dependent on the customers. So we'll start creating association from the line items and then move ahead to the customer part. Okay, so you see, this is independent, customer is independent, but the sales order is dependent on the customers. In the same way, the line items are dependent on the sales orders. So for convenience, we'll start making the association from the line items. Okay, so let's do it over here. You press and enter. It will be a foreign key over here. So we will name that as a foreign key 2. So this will be my foreign key 1 over here. Here I'll be having a foreign key 2. So foreign key 2 will have association to whom? This. So you see, this line item has an association to the sales order. So we'll have an association simply to the sales orders. Simply write sales orders over there and finish, right? So you see, now this sales order has a relationship with the customers. So we'll have over here, we'll name it as F key 1 and call it as association to whom? Association to the customers. So you see, so it's so simple. You see, association to sales orders, and this sales order has got an association to customers. Done it up to this point? Now, you need to also make a reference over here for the association, like how the customer is related to the sales order. So you come back over here, write this sales order over here. Let me show you. This sales orders over here as a field name over here, right? In the same way, we're going to write this line items over here as a field name over here. So once again, we have created the association with the line items to the sales order. We have created the association with the sales orders to the customers. Done it. Now we have to make a reference for each of the things. Like customer also has a one-to-many relationship with the sales orders, and the sales order has one-to-many relationship with the line item. So we have to mention over here the reference point for the customers to the sales order. What kind of relationship is that? And for the sales order to line items, what kind of relationship is that? So we're just going to copy the sales orders and paste it over here. Now write association to many. On what? On sales orders. Again, for convenience, what you need to do is just put the same sales orders everywhere in it. On sales orders, association to many sales orders on sales orders dot what? Foreign key 1. So here is the relationship that is being drawn, foreign key 1. And this foreign key actually is the customer ID of the customer's entity. So if the customer ID is 1, the foreign key is also 1. Now over here, you see this foreign key relationship with the sales order. If say the foreign key is 2, the sales order ID is 2. So the foreign key, what the value for the foreign key is, the same value is there for the sales order ID. That is the primary key of the independent entity. So now we're going to write it foreign key 1 equals dollar self and this thing. In the same way over here, we have to mention about the relationship between sales orders and line items. So you just going to copy line items over here and paste it and a colon and then put the association to many what line items. Again, copy it and paste it over here on what again the line items dot this foreign key 2 over here equals dollar self, and our table is done. So you check this thing out. First, what we did, we wrote the association for line items to make a connectivity to the sales order. So the dependent table is dependent on sales order. So this line item is dependent on the sales order. In the same way, this sales order is dependent on customers. So what I did is I created a reference point over here. This foreign key is related to customers. This line item is related to sales orders. We did that. And after that, what we did is that we also made some reference point for each of the customers to the sales orders and sales orders to the line items. So how are you going to do that? What you're going to do is that you need to copy this part, sales order, paste it, or you can just write it. So when you actually copy it, so there are chances of less errors in it. So sales orders, and keep the sales orders the same everywhere. If you change it by making it smaller or bigger, then that might create a problem. So over here also you see the line items that's mentioned over here is the same over here, and this line items dot foreign key that is referring to this particular thing. So line items dot foreign key, but you see I've used the line items in caps and this also in caps, so that I won't be having any problem to keep which one too small and which one should be big and those kind of things. So just do it like that and you won't be having any problem. Now we're going to expose create and the definitions for our table. So for that we need to go to the, I'm sorry, I've written it in a wrong folder actually. So let's press Control A over here, Control X rather, and go to this DB folder and paste it over there and come back to this part. Now, write using what? Using the namespace, and that is Danish, and see the code completion is there. From where? From our DB folder, and see the code completion again comes. So it's very easy actually to deal with these things. Now we're going to suppose the write the service definition. So it would be a service, and let it be my service then. So let's move on, and here we're going to put our entity, and what's the name? It's the first one is the customers. So just go over there and write customers over here and bring this thing and customers. You can write this customer as anything as you want to, but I have chosen to make it the same because you won't be having problems in actually understanding where to write what. So, but over here you can write anything of your choice. Then it's just going to take this thing and bring it over here to the next line, paste it, and here we can write the sales orders. And sales orders, done it. And then again, paste the whole thing over here. And here we want the line items. And this will be the line items, and this will be the line items. So everything is done now. Okay, so make it a bit better, like look neat and clean. Okay, so we have got 3 entity sets over here. Now let's come to the terminal and let's see what we have to do in it. So we have created our DB and SRV. Now let's go to the package.json, and you see there are 4 problems in it. So what you need to do, just right click over here on any of the thing. So I click on the first one and fix all dependency issues. So once you do that, it's fixing the dependency issues. So you can see that there are so many modules. There's a dependent. So you need to actually have those dependencies installed into your project. So once you are done with it, go to the terminal and we can do a CDS build now. CDS build. So it's going to build the project. Now we also need to have the HANA database in it, but you see over here, there is nothing of that sort coming. So where you can bind your services and tables to an HDI container, but you don't see over here. In order to do that, what you need to do is that you need to do CDS add HANA. The moment you do that, you will see your project will come over here. It'll take some time. I'm sorry. It is actually CDS add MTA, not CDS add HANA. So wait for it, and you see it is this thing that you want to actually bind. Now, another thing is, as you can see over here, there is a DB folder, and the DB, there is no environment variable over here. So when you bind your services to the HDI container, for that you need to have an instance for the HDI container. So either you go and create the instance separately, or you can create it from here. So how you can do it separately, you have to go into the instances over here, and then you can create an instance. Like you can see, there are so many HDI. You need to delete this one. So let's delete it. So you can see an HDI container with the name of association. HDI is already there, and there are so many more HDIs. So you can create from here as well, or you can create it from here. So just press bind. So this green button over here, just click it, and you will be asked to log into your Cloud Foundry. So I'm going to log in through my credentials, and that will be at gmail.com. And password for it is sign in. So you've been signed in, and now to write their organization name, check on the top over here. On the top over here, the same name you see over here. So I see the name 75, the same thing, 7D54 something, and dev and apply it. So now you are supposed to bind it to an HDI container. So we'll press bind to an HDI container. And here you can see it says create a new service instance for it. Or if there are any present over here, like sustain HDI or new project HDI. So we are going to create a new instance for our project. So but it looks like a big name and a clumsy name. So what we're going to do is that we're going to make association UI HDI. So it looks cool. Simply telling it's an HDI container. So you need to press enter. So it will take some time to bind itself to this HDI container. And from this button, we will go into our database, and there we're going to add the table. Be sure that this instance, HANA database instance, should be running in the running mode. Otherwise, it will show error while creating the HDI container. So let's refresh it to see whether it's in a running position or not. So since it is in the running position, so we won't be having any problem in doing that. And when we actually bind it, then an environment variable will get created in the DB folder over here. So it contains the information about the DB instance, about the project. So we need to actually or various environment variables in it. So we need to copy that environment variable and put it to the root, so that the root should also know, the main project should also know about the environment variables regarding the DB. And once the binding is done, you can come back over here and you will see that a key would be generated over here for the instance that is trying to actually make. Which one is that? It's not the one that's there. So we can refresh it to see if it's coming. It takes a couple of minutes to actually do that. So so you see there is an error binding this thing. So let's see what the problem is. It has not bound itself to it, but we see it has generated a key over here, and it contains all the information if you go inside it. So you have got a service key, and if you want to view the key, so it will give you the information about the URL, about the association to the HDI DB deployer, and database ID and driver and these kind of information that is there in the key. So this key is actually used, so close it over here. So this key is actually used to let the the root of the project know about the different environment variables. So since it has not bound itself, so we'll try it once again. So we'll try it once again. So since we have already created an HDI container, so we'll just use that association UI HDI container once again to bind it. So now it's done, and you see a new file that consists of the information regarding the environment variables that is there in it. So we need to copy this environment variable and bring it to the root level. So let me just do a CDS run and check the position. CDS run. So when you do a CDS run, you will see the endpoints for our services, for our entity sets, and you have the metadata over here. So you see we have got our 3 entity sets in it, and it also talks about the navigation between the entity sets. And if you go into the Fiori preview, so this thing, since it doesn't have any data, so it says that there's no database credentials provided. So for that, we need to actually, if you press, you see the columns over here, but there is no data and you can't even connect it. So in order to do that, first we need to actually copy this .env file and bring it to the root. So we need to do Control-C, and you have to change the directory and go to the DB folder, and there you can use the HANA command line interface to copy the env. So FAULT env. So it will copy this thing. You can see that contains everything in it. So you can see it's in a line. It's actually in a line. So when you copy it and bring it over here, so it will be more in a more arranged way. So since you see there is a default env.json, so it's in a JSON format. So what you need to do is press and drag it to the root folder and leave it. And you will see that default env.json would come over there. Now you're going to change the directory again, but with the one that's above it. So we reach to the association UI data. Right? Now, since our project is bound to the HDI container, we need to deploy it. So when we deploy it, then we're going to push some data into our database through our HDI container. So it takes no time to actually do that. And you see it's done now. You can press this cube-like thing as the HDI container, and you can go into our database explorer. So if everything is okay, it won't show any error. To clear that drawing. And now remove this thing from, okay. Now here we'll be having our, no, it shows an error. No, it's working fine. So this is the name of the HDI container. If you remember, Association UI HDI. And we go into our tables and see our 3 entity sets in it. So now we need to push data into our customers table. So since I've already made a CSV file for customers using ChatGPT, so it comes in handy. So what we're going to do is that we're going to import the data for customers. So this is how you're going to do. Go right click on the customer's entity set table, and then go to import data, and you'll be brought to this screen. So it says import data. You need to press this thing that's called as whatever, and now come to import source. So here it's local. So did I miss something or what? So it's a CSV file. Okay, so here we're going to browse for the data, and it is in the association, and it's customers. So this is a CSV file. So the field names and everything should match, otherwise it will give you the error. So go to step 5, review and import data. And if it's green, then everything is okay. Let's go for the line items to do the same thing. Import data. Step 2. And browse for line items. Open. And step 3. And step 4. And step 5. And review and import data. There is a problem. No, it's okay. And go for now sales orders and import data for sales order as well. And now go to step 2, browse and sales orders, open it. Then we go for step 3, step 4, and step 5, and review and import into database. And it's wonderful now. So just cancel everything out now and go and check our data. So open data, right click and open data, and it will show our customers data. So we have got 2 fields in the customer ID and 5 records that they're in it. And if you see the data for the line items, there are, I think, 20 records in it, you see. And if you go to sales order open data, and then you see 10 records in it. So if you go to the customers table and you see the primary key for customer IDs 101, 102, 103, the same primary key is the foreign key for the sales order table 101. So this is how they are making a connection. So you see this 101 is the 101, and because it is referring to the same customer, and the same customer 101 has got a sales order that is 201 and 202. When you go to the line items table, you see this 201, which was unique over here in sales order ID, has now become a non-unique value, and it's 201, 201, and it is now the line items ID is unique for each of the sales order ID. So this is how the uniqueness is actually maintained. And then you've got the product ID and quantity and those things. All right. Now we will go back into our terminal and try to run the product. There is some problem, I suppose. Okay. So we will go do a CDS run, and this time you will see that we're getting the full preview for the customers. So you just need to actually check for your fields and then press the go. You don't have to even press the go button, and then you see you have your customers, and you can do for the sales orders and the items as well. Now, going back over here to the metadata part, as one of the things that we are supposed to do is we have to use double $expand to see how it functions. So here in the part where metadata is, we will be putting our entity set name, that is our customers. So you see, first you're going to see the customers one over here. Okay, there's a problem. Okay, so there you have got the metadata. Yeah, you're going to write the customers now once again. Okay, and there you go. So there wasn't any problem actually. You just needed a refresh and getting the cookies and everything. So here you have the customers. So as we know that we have got 5 customers in our list in the customer table. So now let's see in the $expand. So $expand with it. So see the association that's linked to it, and it is the line items. I'm sorry, it is the sales orders. And you see what you get is for customer 101, the customer 1, we have got 2 sales orders, and the name of the sales order is 201 and 202. For the same customer, for different customer, the customer 2, you have got another sales order, and these are 203 and 204 and so on. Now we're going to know the line item details for each sales order. So what you're going to do is that put a brace and just write again a $expand expand equals the line item. So it is in capital, line items. Press enter, and now you can see that over here for our first customer, we have got the sales order that is 201, and that for the same sales order we have got 2 line items, that is 301 and 302. And for the different sales order for the same customer, it's 202, and we have got only 1 line item attached to it, and that's 303. And for the rest of the customers, the data is there. Okay, so everything is working fine now. So what we need to do now, that we'll see and clear it. So now just lower it a bit too. Okay, so now we have to make a UI. So how you can make a UI? So for that you need to go to the view and command palette and look for application generator. So Fiori app generator. Okay, open application generator over here. So we'll get a template wizard over here where will ask us to will ask us what kind of Fiori app we want, and we want a list report. So we'll go for the list report page. So there's a template, and we go next, And for that, we'll look for the data source, and we have got to use a local cap project in it, and look for the project, and then it takes time actually to get it done. So it's a Node.js project. So I need to put next, and the main entity is customers, and we have to navigate to the sales orders. Okay. So automatically add everything in sections to the list page. So let's go next. And the name of the project is project 1, and the title of the application is app title, and the application namespace would be app space. Okay, space. So it's done now, and go to next. Says for the deployment configuration. So it's none, and a Foundry, and finish. Now, the page that's going to come is a very important page where you would be given some. You'll be provided with a list of things that you can do with the app. So instead of using the command palette directly, although you can get the same list through the command palette, but you don't know what exactly is there in the list, so you have to go through each of the things. But here you see this is a very important page, and you see first this list report object page, and another object page with the sales order. So these 3 pages are there. So once you click on the list report, you'll be directed to the object page that might consist details regarding the sales order in it. So although it's written customers object page, but of course the customer has a sales order. So this customer object page will have details of the sales order. And then when you navigate from the table in the customer's object page to the object page of the sales order, so in this sales order, you'll be having details about the line items, right? Now, if you go down a bit, what you see is that these are the things that you can do. So you can go for open guided development and do various things like add various code snippets into your annotation file. And over here, you can see another one. This is the most important one that today we're going to use, open page map. And after using page map, we'll be having everything that we want to be done inside our app, all the navigations and everything. So let's go into the page map and try to do the things that we want to. So it's taking a bit of a time to come. Okay, it's come now. So when you go to the list report, okay, in the meanwhile, I need to show you, then I'll come back to this part. We'll do a CDS run since we have created our UI. So we'll see another endpoint that's created with project 1 web app. And you see this is how the app looks like right now. So in this app, the screen that you see in the first one, that is this list report page, is this one, customer and customer name. If you press a go button over here, what you see are the list of the customer name and customer ID that we have created in our table. So once you click over here, you're directed to a page like this that doesn't have much data in it. Now the requirement is that we need a table over here. You need a table and with the records in it. So, and for each record, there is a kind of a navigation button attached to it so that you can navigate to the next page. And that is our third page. So something like this. So here we have got the first report, the second report. I'm not able to draw a straight line actually. So it will take some time to actually do that. I'm not actually accustomed to using the mouse. Okay, so here you have got the list of the things that you actually expect about the sales order. So you have got the sales order 1, 2, 3, and then here you will have a navigation button that you press, and then you'll be taken to the next page. So in the next page, you'll be having the list of line items related to each sales order for the particular customer. All right. So that's the idea. So it will create another facet over here. And in that facet that you press, then you will get the table. And right now, what we have is sort of general information that is there, inbuilt one. So we haven't done anything about that. It got generated on its own. So now, so in the list report over here, as you see, and then if you go into the app folder over here, you see our project one that's created. And in this, we have got this annotation.cds file. So it consists of all the annotations that those are there in it. That was created on its own. So we'll check into this annotation file. So let's go and check first. So here you can see we have got a annotation that is annotating the customers, which thing the service.customers, it is annotating that one. And what is the annotation that is used is the UI line items. So as you can see, we have got two fields, the customer ID and the customer name in the table. So customer ID and the customer name, you see customer ID, customer name, you see these two fields are there. If you had more fields, so you'd be having more of these UI data fields in it. Now, going next to the annotation, you see it is also annotating the customers with another one that is UI field group, and this one is the line item. So in that, we have the customer ID and the customer name. So if you go back to the app and you press this button, you see you have got the customer ID and the customer name over here on the labeled general information. So, and that thing over here is here in the name of the facet. You have got a general information for these things. Okay. So, and now, so these two things are there in it, and we want to add more of the annotation and tables in it. So we're gonna like kill it for now and go into the object page over here that I started with. So it's a page map project one. So I went to page map. You can go in to the page map using command palette as well. If you go to the command palette and type page map over here, and you can see it will show you the page map. So you can use the command palette also to go to the page map and you will be brought to this page. Now press this edit button and we don't need actually this one there. So although it contains some information, but right now it's not required for us. So we can just kill this one too. And now you can see in the customer's object page. So it's the customer's object page. And in that object page over here, we need a table. So what you can do is that go to the section part. So you have got the header part, the section part, and the footer. So in the section part, you come over here and you see a plus button. So it's the header part over here, header part. So this is my header part. This is my section, and this is my footer part over here. You see at the last. So come back to this part, and in the sections part, you see there's a plus button. You need to press this plus button, and you see it asks to actually, the things that we can do with it is that we can add a table section to it. So pressing this table section, we can put the label, and the label for it would be sales order. That's what we want to see. Sales order. And what is this value source? Is the sales orders, and we add it. Okay, now let's go back to the page and see what has happened. So instead of doing CDS run, we should have done CDS watch, so that we can see what's happening for every change that we make over here. So let's do Control C and do a CDS watch and press enter. And we'll go back to this thing, and we don't need this thing anymore, and go to the web app. And here we can see that a table is created with all its fields. So once you press go over here and then press this thing, you see a table is created, but you don't see any visible columns. So you have to add the columns from the personalization part. So you can personalize everything. So I don't need the foreign key over here, but still you can add it at the beginning. You see, it says that for the customer who's got whose ID is 101, he has got two sales orders, and their ID is 201 and 202. But once you click this thing, you see a nav button over here. Once you click it, you are brought to the third page. And in this third page, we want a table again over here. So for that, again, we need to go back to this part of the page. In the section, you need to go back to the main section that is here of your page. By clicking the back button over here, I came to this part, the object page sales order, and you need to press again this thing, the edit button. And in the section, we need to add a plus, and here again we need a table, and the label would be line items, and the value source would be the line items, and then you add it. And after doing that, we'll go back to our app title and just press back button, and now again press it. Oops, nothing has come. Why? Let's do it from the beginning. Press customer 2. Oops. What's the problem in it? We did that thing. We need to refresh it. Okay, we need to refresh the whole thing or what? So let's refresh it. So, okay, you see the line items has come. So you need to put all the things over here in it, and you get a third table. So let's go back at the beginning, and you see here, when you go to the customer 3, you have the date and foreign key and sales order. Just drop the foreign key for a while. So you have press OK, and then you get 2 sales order for the customer, which is 103. And then if you click over here for the customer 103, the sales order number is 205, and the line items that you see over here is 309 and 3010. All right. So now go back and we'll go for customer 5 and see the same thing for customer 5. Yeah, that's the primary key for it at 105, and the ID is 105. And then it has got how many sales orders? It has got 2 sales orders, 209, 210. So if you want to see how many line items are there in 210, you press it, and you only see 1 line item in it. And at the annotation.cds level in this file, the equivalent code that you have actually used in this page section over here, whatever you have done, the codes have been created over here. With that, you see you have got this time it is annotating the service sales orders, and you see it is annotating the service line items, and they all got created on its own. And you have got the facets also in it. So you see the UI facet, and you see the type is UI reference facet. And what else have we got? And you see there is a service.sales order and the line items. So these line items actually is connected to the customers. So you don't have fields over here actually. So they come on their own. And here again, you see you're annotating the line items with UI line items, and the fields come on their own. Yeah, so you have got the equivalent code that's generated in the annotation.cds file. Thanks for watching the video.